Hey guys, welcome back to TRB Vlogs. And this is the Back to Basics series, so it's not as much entertainment as it is practical things. Unfortunately, this is how I clean marquee frame tent walls. Not super fun. These are 20 feet long. So what I do is I lay out two 8-foot tables and I plop the wall on top. This wall is 8 feet long, so it just sits on these tables perfectly. But as you clean it, you have to kind of roll it up. So this is what I do. Not much space here. I use some sort of bleach, some sort of, ideally some sort of mold, anti-mold thing. And I don't use much of it. I just give it, 2, 3, 4 sprays, depending how bad it is. Obviously, you give it a little bit more if it's really bad. But I give it just a couple sprays. Then what I do is I grab a magic eraser. Of course, now that I have this video set up, I've misplaced the magic eraser. Oh, no. Here's one over here. So, this one has not much life to it left. You can hear me over there. But I grab a magic eraser, okay? And I just give it a scrub, okay? Kind of in concentric circles.
Going over the entire area that I'm cleaning.
You'll find with these walls, there's gonna be little spots, which you'll have to kind of really rub in, okay? In order to get that discoloration or scuff out of the wall. Then I take a rag. Okay, and this one I keep rinsing in a bucket of water. But I take a rag and I'm gonna kind of wipe it down, And this rag also acts as a cleaning rag. I use one more rag afterwards. I wipe it down, but this is kind of important. What I want to do is I want to use a drying rag now. So I grab a drying rag. This drying rag is, well, as you've guessed it, it's pretty dry. And I replace these drying rags. So after they get wet, I want to keep it as dry as possible. Because the point of this is, after I wipe this, I want to roll it back up. And if it's wet still underneath, it's gonna basically re-dirty it. Or if it's wet, that's a place where mold can grow again, and it defeats the whole purpose of you doing this. So I want to kind of dry wipe the area afterwards. After the area is dry wiped as far as I can reach, well, I do it all over again. I roll it up, and I do it all over again. Now, after you're done one side, 8 by 20 feet, I mean, these walls are 20 feet. Some walls are different, some walls are 15, some walls are 10. You guys all know, there's 30-foot walls. Are there 30-foot walls? I don't know, but they're all different sizes, obviously. This one specifically, and most of the ones we have are 20 feet. And after you're done one side, obviously you have to flip it around, or flip it around and do the other side. Drying the other side is most important, because once you roll that wall up, well, you're not gonna unroll it again. Couple tips here is, when you do roll it back up, make sure it's nice and neat. When you're rolling up these walls, make sure these hooks, if you have hooks like this or hooks of any sort that are metal, make sure they're out like this rather than like this, or even the strap like that. Make sure everything's nice and straight, hooks out, because otherwise, if this rolls down onto the hook, that hook is gonna scuff the wall and create a mark and potentially damage it there. As you roll up a wall, it tends to expand out on this side or expand out here. This kind of builds up. So you might have to go back and forth to try to, sometimes I like give it a tap if it's kind of coning out this way. Another quick tip as well is that as I wall the window sections, if your window sections have any sort of straps like this, I try to keep them as aligned, as you can see it's not perfect, as possible. So as you roll, you know it's gonna be kind of straight. Now, it's not gonna be perfect. These walls, at least the ones I have, are quite forgiving in a sense if it's not rolled up perfect. You know, it's not gonna be the end of the world, but you know, just try to keep it. It's nice also to keep the part you're rolling up as kind of straight and nicely taut as possible. Here I still have to give it a bit of a tug, and that's also going to help you roll up the wall and make it more manageable. After we're done rolling up the wall, one tip is not to keep this too tight. Like, you really don't want this kind of being squished in, you know? So we actually try to keep it as loose as possible, which means the wall itself has to be fairly tight, not extremely tight, but we want the strap kind of not like really tight. That way it'll ensure the wall is kind of nice and straight rather than squished and crinkled up in those areas. Because over time, if it's left in storage, those areas will show once the wall is completely hung on the tent. I put my logo, there's the manufacturer's label here, but I put my logo on top of the manufactured brand. I mean, you don't have to put it right on there, you can put it above. I kind of covered that up. This specific manufacturer also rents stuff in my area. That's why I do it. I mean, this is a nice form of branding. Is that my logo is here, but also the specifications of the tent are here. So the fire rating information, the size of the wall, and kind of the description and the information is still there. And furthermore, make sure somehow you're labeling the end. This is just a little flag thing we got here, but you can also take a marker and write down. What we do also, and have to do it after I'm done cleaning this, is we'll label this A grade, B grade, C grade. That way when we're going to a wedding, we might grab all A grade. If we're going to just a market event where cleanliness and pure clean brightness aren't the most important things, we might grab a mix of A grade for the entrances and B and C grade for the sides, or for portions where, you know, people aren't really paying attention to because they're doing the event. So it's important to have the grade, or at least it kind of makes things, because you do want to use up the tent as long as possible in order for you to get kind of the money worth from that tent, or in this case, wall of the tent. So guys, kind of a boring video. It's all about cleaning, right? But hopefully, hopefully maybe you learned something. This is how I clean walls. The tent tops that we're actually doing in tent washers, we're gonna do a video about that next. I still have to pick them up from the tent washer, and we're excited about that because, hey, we don't have to clean those tent tops by hand anymore. Anyways, guys, take it easy. We'll see you later. Let's get some business done.